In this video, I'm going to solve all doubts from exercise 2B and 2C, mostly in numericals. So the first doubt is from exercise 2B, numerical number 2. Following table gives the displacement of car at different instants of time. Draw the displacement time sketch and find the average velocity of the car. Now see, average velocity from displacement time graph is basically total displacement upon total time. And let's see, first let's draw the graph. Uh, First I need to draw x and y axis. Okay. Now we need to plot time on x axis and displacement on y axis. Okay. So time is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Displacement is 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. And we have to draw displacement time sketch. So the first point will be 0, 0. Second point will be 1, 5, 2, 10, 3, 15, and 4, 20. This is a straight line which shows the displacement time graph. So this is a displacement time graph which is a straight line. And we have to find the average velocity of the car. Now, since it is a straight line, we can say that the car is moving with uniform velocity, and average velocity will be equal to the uniform velocity. So we can even find the slope of this particular graph and calculate the average or the uniform velocity. So let's find the slope. For finding the slope, we will require 2 points. Let's take the 2 points as this one, A, and this one, B. Okay, so slope of displacement time graph is equal to velocity, which is equal to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Okay, so what is y2? y2 is 15. What is y1? 10. What is x2? 3, and x1? 2. So this will become 5 by 1, which is 5 meter per second. So that's the velocity, and average velocity and velocity both are equal because the body is moving with uniform velocity, because the displacement time graph is a straight line. Now, if you find the area under the graph also, you will find the velocity to be 5 meter per second. If you find total distance upon total distance is 20, total time is 4, you will find the velocity as 5 meter per second, which is equal to the average velocity. So the first question is done. What will be the displacement of the car at 2.5 seconds? See, 2.5 lies over here. So at 2.5 seconds, the displacement of the car will be between 10 and 15. Exactly between 10 and 15, that is 12.5 meter. Right? If you draw the graph properly and if you draw a line from 2.5, that is a line between, that is a division between 2 and 3, exactly midway, and you draw it perpendicular to x-axis, you let it meet your graph, and then you draw it perpendicular to your y-axis, and the point at which it cuts the y-axis, that is, if you see, the point which is exactly between 10 and 15, which if you calculate is 12.5 meter. Similarly, the displacement of the car at 4.5 meter. Now see, this is 4 and this is 5. Sorry. This is 5. So in between 4 and 5, there is a point exactly in between, which is 4.5. You draw a line which perpendicular to that x-axis at that point, and then extend it to the y-axis, perpendicular to the y-axis. The point at which it meets y-axis will be exactly between 20 and 25. So if you find the midway between 20 and 25, it would be 22.5. So these are the answer number 1 and 2 of part B. Correct? So question number 2 is solved. Question number 3. This was question number 2. I hope you understood. Question number 3. Let's go ahead. A body is moving in a straight line and its displacement at various instants of time is given in the following table. Okay, so I can see different displacements. So I will draw a displacement time graph. This is your time axis. This is your displacement axis. The time is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The displacement is from 2 till 24. So we can we have to draw a little bigger graph. Let me just make it a little bigger. Yeah, now it's okay. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Many students have problem in plotting the graph also. So, for them it is absolutely necessary to see the method with which I'm plotting it. Okay, 0, 2. At 0 second, the displacement was 2 already. So the first point is here. Let me draw the points with the help of another color. So first point is over here. 1, 6. Okay, 1, 6. Second point will be here. 2, 12. 2, 12. 3, 12. Okay. 4, 12. All right. 5, 18. 5, 18. 6, 22. 7, 24. 'Okay, so let's join these lines. All these points need to be joined. See, you don't have to draw this dotted line because you will be having your graph, so you can properly join these points with scale, and no need to draw the dotted line. So it will be more clearer. Okay, now let's understand what is the information given to us. Plot the displacement time graph and calculate the total distance traveled in the interval of 1 to 5 seconds. In the interval of 1 to 5 seconds, that is, okay, from 1 to 5 seconds, not from 0 to 5. So that's one thing to note, from 1 to 5 seconds. So at 1 second, the displacement of the body was 6 meter, and at 5 seconds, the displacement of the body was 18. So what is 18 minus 6? 18 minus 6 is 12 meter. That is correct. What is the average velocity in the time interval 1 to 5 seconds? See, 1 to 5 seconds, again, let me tell you, the total displacement is 12 meter. And what is the time interval from 1 to 5 seconds? 1 to 5 seconds, the time interval is 1, 2, 3, and 4 seconds. Right? So average velocity is equal to total displacement upon total time. Total displacement from 1 to 5 seconds is 12 meter, and total time is 4 seconds. So average velocity will be 3 meters per second. 3 meter per second. That is the correct answer. I hope you understood the third question. Let's move ahead. The next doubt is in question number 4. The graph is already given to us, so we just have to read the graph, most probably. Okay, so figure 2.38 shows the displacement of a body at different times. Calculate the velocity of the body as it moves from time interval 0 to 5, 5 to 7, and 7 to 9. Very easy. For finding velocity, you need to find the slope. Correct? So, from 0 to 5 seconds means we have to consider these 2 points. We don't know any points in between. We know the first point and the last point. So that these 2 points will be helpful for us to find the velocity by calculating the slope. So for what is the velocity from 0 to 5 seconds? So what is the slope from 0 to 5 seconds? So slope is equal to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Always remember that this is the second point, this is the first point. So here you will get the coordinates 5, 3, that is x2 and y2, x2, y2. And here the first point will give you x1, y1, which is 0, 0. So what is y2 minus y1? y2 minus y1 is 3 minus 0. What is x2 minus x1? x2 is 5, x1 is 0. So 5 minus 0. So what is the slope? The slope is 3 by 5, which is basically 0.6 meter per second, which is the velocity. See, we got the correct answer. Okay, what is the velocity between 7 to 9 seconds? Sorry, 5 to 7 seconds. See, in 5 to 7 seconds, the displacement time graph becomes parallel to the time axis. And I told you multiple times while I was teaching this topic that whenever the displacement time graph becomes parallel to the time axis, the velocity is 0, because this line, this horizontal line, has no slope. No slope means no velocity. So the velocity between 5 to 7 seconds is what? 0. With justification I have told you. What is the velocity between 7 to 9 seconds? So 7 seconds over here, 9 seconds over here. We got 2 points. So let's put the coordinates of both the points over here. 9, 7, that is x2 and y2. And this will be 7, 3, which is x1 and y1. So let's find the slope. Slope is equal to y2 minus y1, 7 minus 3 upon x2 minus x1, 9 minus 7. 7 minus 3 is 4, 9 minus 7 is 2. So slope is 2. So velocity is 2 meter per second. From 7 to 9 seconds, the velocity is 2 meter per second. Absolutely correct. I hope you understood that. So this is done. Part B. Calculate the average velocity during the time interval 5 to 9 seconds. See, 5 to 9 seconds. What is happening between 5 to 9 seconds? 5 to 9 seconds can be divided into two parts. First 5 to 7 seconds and then 7 to 9 seconds. 5 to 7 seconds the velocity was 0 and 7 to 9 seconds the velocity was 2 meters per second. Now what we can do is to find the average velocity, we can use the formula. Average velocity is equal to total displacement upon total time. Total displacement upon total time. What is the total displacement from 5 to 7 seconds? See, at 5 seconds, the body was at 3 meter distance displacement from origin, and at 9 seconds, the body was at 7 meter away from the origin. So the displacement between 5 to 9 seconds is nothing but 4 meter. Total displacement is 4 meter. And what is the time interval between 5 to 9 seconds? Time interval is also 4 seconds. So average velocity becomes 4 by 4, which is 1 meter per second. Easy, right? So question number 4 is also done. Next doubt is question number 5. Let's make some space before we do question number 5. I will just move this. I hope you are noting down everything. That's important. Question number 5. In question number 5 also we have a graph. From displacement time graph of cyclist given in figure 2.39 over here. Find the average velocity in the first 4 seconds. Okay, first 4 seconds. So we will start looking at the graph from here up to here, first 4 seconds. So we have to find the average velocity. Average velocity again, I will tell you that it is total displacement upon total time. So the body began from 0 meter and up to 4 seconds it had covered 10 meter. And average velocity is total displacement upon total time. That is, total displacement is 10 and total time is 4. So that is 2.5. If you calculate the average velocity 10 by 4, that is 2.5, which is correct. Okay, so no need of me showing you or writing you everything down for you. You need to write as I'm instructing you. Remember my instructions and follow them, right? Second, the displacement from the initial position at the end of 10 seconds. Okay, so at the end of 10 seconds, the body is over here, right? So what is the displacement of the body at the end of 10 seconds? It is visible on the graph. At the end of 10 seconds, the body is over here. So what is the displacement? Minus 10 meter. So at the displacement from initial position at the end of 10 seconds is as shown in the graph. Minus 10 meter. No need to calculate. You just have to read the graph. Third, the time after which he reaches the starting point. See, he reaches the starting point at 2 instants. Starting point is 0 meter. So when does this graph intersect x-axis or time axis? Is that point where he comes back to its initial position. So पहले तो ये बॉडी दूर जाता है 5 मीटर 10 मीटर, फिर 10 मीटर पे 2 सेकंड के लिए रुक जाता है, फिर वो वापस अपनी ओरिजिनल पोजीशन पे आता है एंड द बॉडी रीचेस इट्स हिज ओरिजिनल पोजीशन एट 7 सेकंड. फिर वो अपनी ओरिजिनल पोजीशन से पीछे जाता है 10 मीटर पीछे, फिर 10 मीटर पीछे रुकता है फॉर मे बी 3 seconds and then he comes back to his original position again at 13 seconds. So at 7 seconds and 13 seconds, the body or the cyclist reaches to his starting point. ठीक है, तो इसमें कुछ भी there was nothing which I had to write. Just I had to read the graph and answer the question. और बहुत लोग ऐसा करते हैं, मैंने देखा है कि दे जस्ट सी के यहाँ पे फाइनल आंसर दिया है तो वो लिख देते हैं. सो दैट इज नॉट हाउ इट इज डन. तुम्हें समझ के लिखना है. इफ यू डोंट अंडरस्टैंड देन देर इज नो मीनिंग. ठीक है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 7 इज द नेक्स्ट डाउट. अ बॉडी एट रेस्ट इज मेड टू फॉल फ्रॉम टॉप ऑफ अ टावर. अच्छा, तो ये फ्री फॉल वाला क्वेश्चन है, याद रखना. इट्स डिस्प्लेसमेंट एट डिफरेंट इंस्टेंसेस गिवन इन द फॉलोइंग टेबल. टाइम और डिस्प्लेसमेंट दिया हुआ है तुमको. टाइम और डिस्प्लेसमेंट दिया हुआ है. ड्रॉ डिस्प्लेसमेंट टाइम ग्राफ एंड स्टेट वेदर द मोशन इज यूनिफॉर्म और नॉन यूनिफॉर्म. देखो, ये डेफिनेटली नॉन यूनिफॉर्म मोशन है, तो हम पहले ही बता सकते हैं, बिकॉज ये फ्री फॉल का एग्जाम्पल है. फ्री फॉल क्या है? फ्री फॉल इज अ मोशन विच इज अंडर ग्रेविटी, और अंडर ग्रेविटी जो भी मोशन होता है दैट इज गवर्न्ड बाय एक्सेलरेशन ड्यू टू ग्रेविटी. तो एक्सेलरेशन तो है इसमें, एक्सेलरेशन ड्यू टू ग्रेविटी है, एंड दिस इज नॉट अ यूनिफॉर्म मोशन. अच्छा, इसको हम सिंप्लीफाई करने के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं? जो मीटर है ना, इसको सेंटीमीटर में कन्वर्ट कर सकते हैं. टाइम को एज इट इज रखो, मीटर को सेंटीमीटर में कन्वर्ट करो ताकि तुम्हारा प्लॉटिंग ईजी हो जाए, क्योंकि बहुत लोगों को ये डाउट होगा कि प्लॉट कैसे करना. ठीक है, सो आई एम गोइंग टू शो यू कि मैं कैसे इसको करूंगा. ठीक है, so this is my Cartesian plane on which I'm going to mark the time. So 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. डिस्प्लेसमेंट. ठीक है, टाइम ये हो गया सेकेंड्स में. डिस्प्लेसमेंट यहाँ पे हम लोग लिखेंगे मीटर, सेंटीमीटर्स में. आई एम सॉरी, क्योंकि दीज पॉइंट्स विल बी इजी टू प्लॉट इन सेंटीमीटर. मीटर टू सेंटीमीटर कन्वर्ट करने के लिए यू जस्ट हैव टू मल्टीप्लाई बाय 100. सो दिस विल बिकम 5, 20, 45, 80, 125, 180. So it's better that you take your markings as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, not 180, 80. 90, 100, मुझे 180 तक जाना है, तो ये ऊपर तक जाएगा. ठीक है, ये तुम समझ जाओ. ठीक है, मैं 110 और 120 लिख देता हूँ. आगे आगे और भी तुम्हें बनाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, सो दिस इज योर बेसिक लेआउट. अब इसमें क्या लिखना है हमें? 1 एंड 0.0, 0.1 एंड 5. तो ये पहला पॉइंट होगा यहाँ पे. लेट मी डू इट विद अ ब्लैक ink. This will be the first point, 0.1, 5, then 0.2, 20, 0.3, 0.45, 0.4, 0.80, 0.5, 1.25. ठीक है. नाउ ये जो ट्रेंड दिख रहा है तुम्हें, ये जो पॉइंट दिख रहे हैं, इनको एक स्ट्रेट लाइन से तो ज्वाइन नहीं कर सकते. सो व्हाट यू वुड डू व्हेन यू ज्वाइन देम, यू विल गेट अ कर्व. क्या मिलेगा तुम्हें? यू विल गेट अ कर्व्ड लाइन. योर ग्राफ विल बी अ कर्व्ड लाइन. ठीक है. सो ड्रॉ द डिस्प्लेसमेंट टाइम ग्राफ तो हो गया, समझ गया तुमको. State whether the motion is uniform or non-uniform. Whenever displacement time graph is not a straight line, it is a curved line, the displacement is non-uniform, जो हमने पहले ही प्रेडिक्ट कर लिया था. ठीक है, तो जिसको भी इसमें डाउट है, अब कोई डाउट नहीं होना चाहिए इसमें. इट्स वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन. लेट्स गो टू द 9th क्वेश्चन. 9th क्वेश्चन में 4 पार्ट्स है. द ग्राफ इज ऑलरेडी गिवन टू अस. Figure 2.42 given below shows a velocity time graph for a car starting from rest. Velocity time graph for a car starting from rest. The graph has 3 parts, AB, BC and CD. तो this is a velocity time graph. ये पहले याद रखो, ये एक velocity time graph. और इसमें 3 पार्ट है, AB, BC और CD. State how is the distance traveled in any part determined from this graph. See, distance traveled can be determined from velocity time graph. मैंने ये बताया था बहुत अच्छे से. Distance traveled in any part is determined by finding area under the graph. Finding area under the graph. Okay, the next question. Compare the distance traveled in part BC with distance traveled in part AB. They are asking you to compare the distance. So for comparing the distance, you need to find the distance. How much distance is traveled in part BC and how much distance is traveled in part AB. Okay, let's look at it. Okay, in part AB, see, this is a velocity time graph. If you need to find the distance covered in part AB, you need to find the area under the graph. So distance covered in AB, distance covered in AB is equal to area under AB. So under AB, if I see the area, it is a right angle triangle. So that is half into base into height. Area of triangle AB, and this point is not known, we can name it E. Right? So what is the base? The base is, see, it is not, there is no number over here. There is just T. So 0 to T. What is the time? T. What is the height? The height is from here till B. That is V naught. That is V naught. Okay, so we'll write the distance covered in AB as V naught multiplied by T upon 2. So there is no need to get confused about this V naught or T. They are just usual forms of, you can say, your symbols. So your answer can be in symbol, and anyways we have to compare the distance. So we don't, it doesn't matter, right? Let's find the distance traveled in part AB. Distance traveled in part, hey, AB is done, so BC, that is area under BC, which is basically length into breadth. The length is from T to 2T. What is the length from T to 2T? 2T minus T, which is T. And what is the breadth? The height or breadth is this one, the same thing, that is V naught. Okay, so how to compare the distance traveled in part BC with the distance traveled in part AB? We just have to find the ratio. So distance traveled in BC upon distance traveled in AB, which is V naught T upon V naught T by 2. This 2 will go up and this V naught T will get cancelled and we'll get 2 is to 1. The distance traveled in BC is 2 times the distance traveled in AB. Correct? So question number 1 is done, question number 2 is done, and let's move ahead. There are 2 more parts which are remaining. First, let's take care of this. Okay. Okay, question number 3. Which part of graph shows motion with uniform velocity, acceleration and retardation? See, AB is showing a straight line which is inclined to the time axis. It shows that this is the period where the body is traveling with uniform acceleration. So uniform acceleration is from A to B. Uniform velocity is from B to C, because from B to C the graph becomes a straight line which is parallel to the time axis. So uniform velocity is BC, and CD is declined line, declined, not inclined, declined, right? The slope is negative from C to D, and that's why this is uniform retardation from C to D, CD. So no need of calculations. It is just reading the graph and directly writing the answer. Fourth question of question number 9, fourth subpart. Is the magnitude of acceleration higher or lower than the retardation? Give a reason and compare the magnitude of acceleration and retardation. See, as we can see here, the slope of CD is higher than AB. The slope of CD is higher than AB, and that's why retardation's magnitude is greater than acceleration's magnitude. So this is the answer of that first part of sub question 4 with reason. But we have to compare the magnitudes also. So let's find the value of acceleration and retardation. Okay. So acceleration in AB, which is it equal to slope of AB, which is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Yeah, I reckon that you know many of you have might have faced issue over here, so please look carefully. Y2 minus y1. So this is the second point. And what are the coordinates of this point? The x coordinate is t and the y coordinate is v naught. And this is the first point. What are the coordinates? 0, 0. So y2 minus y1, v naught minus 0 upon x2 minus x1, t minus 0. That is v naught by t. That is the acceleration in AB. Okay. So what is the acceleration in CD? That is slope of CD. That is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Now this is your second point and this is your first point, right? So what is the value of the x1 and y1? X1 is 2t and y1 is v naught. Here x2 is 2.5t and y2 is 0. Okay, so 0 minus v naught upon 0 minus v naught upon x2, which is 2.5t minus 2t. That is minus v naught upon 0.5t. that is minus v naught upon t by 2, right? Because 0.5 is 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 into t is t by 2. 2 will go up. So minus 2v naught by t, minus 2v naught by t. And see, this is acceleration. This is acceleration. We want the magnitude of acceleration or retardation. So therefore we can say that retardation in CD is nothing but 2v naught by t. Now we have to compare also. They have said that compare the magnitude of acceleration and retardation. So acceleration upon retardation is equal to v naught by t upon 2v naught by t. V naught by t cuts and you get 1 is to 2. So it shows that retardation is double the acceleration. Retardation is double the acceleration. 1 is to 2 is the correct answer. Right? So in detail, I have explained you this particular 9th question, and I hope that every one of you, whoever had doubt in this question number 9, they got this thing. Right? Let's move ahead. So all these doubts, whichever I'm solving for all of you, it is completely in my database. I'm saving everything, and I know what and which doubts when I solved. All the things are now saved, unlike classroom. In classroom, even after solving some doubts, some students, they complain that sometimes they complain that uh, you know the particular doubt is not solved or they did not understand. But here is not a case. We are on the record. Literally, we are recording everything. Everything is being saved. So there is you can say no escape, or you can say full support. No escape, full support. Question number 10. The velocity time graph of a moving body is given below. Chalo, we have the velocity time graph. Find the accelerations in part A, B, B, C, and C, D. All right. AB. What is the acceleration in AB? Let's write over here also. Acceleration in part AB. So first you need to take 2 points and you need to find the slope of this particular part AB. Okay, for that you need to use the formula y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Okay, so this is my second point. So let us find the coordinate of this point. It is 4 comma 30. This is the first point, 0 comma 0. So what is y2 minus y1? 30 minus 0 upon what is x2 minus x1? 4 minus 0. Right? Now this is very, very clear to you. So we get 30 by 4 and this is 30 by 4, 15 by 2, 7.5 meter per second square. That's the acceleration in part AB. What is the acceleration in part BC? Now see, just I told you, velocity time graph. Whenever velocity time graph is a straight line parallel to time axis, that means the velocity is constant and there is no acceleration. So acceleration in part BC is 0. Acceleration in BC is equal to 0 meter per second square. Right? So that's the first one. Okay. Acceleration in CD. Acceleration in CD, which is equal to slope, which is equal to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. I've seen many students writing rise upon run. ये rise upon run जो है ना, ये समझने के लिए मैंने बताया. इसको प्लीज़ तुम लिटरली मत ले लो और इसको मत यूज़ कर लो, ठीक है। y2 माइनस वाई वन अपॉन x2 माइनस x1 ही लिखना है तुम्हें एग्जाम में भी, राइज अपॉन रन तो हमारे समझने के लिए, ठीक है। Anyway, so this point C has coordinates of 8, 30 and point D has coordinates of 10, 0. Okay, so what is y2? y2 is 0 minus y1. y1 is 30 upon x2. x2 is 10 and x1. x1 is 8. 0 minus 30 upon 10 minus 8, x2 minus x1. Perfect. So minus 30 upon 10 minus 8 is 2, which is minus 15 meter per second square. That is the acceleration in CD. That is the acceleration in CD. Minus 15 meter per second. So let's check the answer. 7.5, 0 and minus 15 meter per second square. ठीक है, समझ में आया? So the first sub part is done. What is the displacement in each part A, B, B, C and C, D? Now displacement is equal to area under the graph. So AB के अंडर कितना एरिया है, तो AB को हम लोग आइसोलेट कर लेते हैं, राइट। आई एम गोइंग टू शो यू दिस ओरली कि कैसे हम लोग एरिया इजीली निकाल सकते हैं। सो दिस इज AB, ठीक है। AB के अंडर का जो एरिया इट्स इन द फॉर्म ऑफ अ ट्राइंगल, सो हाफ इंटू बेस इंटू हाइट, half into 4 into 30. Half into 4 is 2 into 30, that is 60 meters. So the distance under graph AB is the distance traveled in the part AB is area under the graph, that is 60 meters. So what is the distance traveled by the moving body in from B to C? Okay, so that is area under BC. So what is area under BC? Let's find out. So area under BC is this area, right? The one shaded with red ink. Okay, so what is this area? The height is 30 and the breadth is 2. Sorry, 4. So 30 multiplied by 4 is 120. So area under the portion BC of the graph is 120. That is distance displacement from B to C is 120 meter, which is correct. And the last part is area under CD, that is this displacement from C to D. So that is this green ink area. That is half into 30 into 2. That is 30 meter. That is a displacement of the body from C to D. Right. So that is also clear now. And the last question is total displacement. Now total displacement is 60 plus 120 plus 30. 180 plus 30, that is 210. Very easy. Or you can also find it as area of the trapezium. If you find the area of trapezium A, B, C, D, that is half into sum of parallel sides into the distance between them, you will find the same thing, 210. So this one is clear now. Okay, let's move on to the next question, question number 11. Let's make some space first. A ball moves on a smooth floor in a straight line with uniform velocity 10 meter per second for 6 seconds. This is question number 11. Okay. So a ball is moving on a smooth floor in a straight line with uniform velocity 10 meter per second for 6 seconds. At t is equal to 6 seconds, the ball hits the wall and comes back along the same line to the starting point with the same speed. Draw velocity time graph and use it to find the total distance traveled by the ball and its displacement. Very interesting question. Okay, so let's first draw the graph. Now what we need to do over here is draw this graph in not only in first quadrant but also in the fourth quadrant. And why so, I'll explain you. Okay, so this is the special case. And what they are saying is, in the question, a ball moves on a smooth floor in a straight line with uniform velocity 10 meter per second for 6 seconds, and at 6 seconds the ball hits the wall and comes back along the same line to the starting point with the same speed. So it will take the same time. Okay, let's first give numbers to our x and y axis. So this is time in seconds. This is the velocity in meter per second, right? And this is also velocity in meters per second, right? So this one is 0. Okay, now time is for going and coming, the total time is 12 seconds. So 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's your time, right? Velocity is 0, 5, 10. 0, minus 5, minus 10. Now why I'm taking negative velocity, I will explain you. First, let us draw the velocity time graph of the first 6 seconds. So ball travels in a straight line for 6 seconds with a velocity of 10 meter per second. So this is the graph, uniform velocity. At 6 seconds, what happens is suddenly the ball strikes a wall. And now for further 6 seconds, ball starts moving in the opposite direction. Velocity time graph will be in fourth quadrant. Why? Because the velocity will become negative. So this is how the graph will look like. This is a dotted line. Okay, this is the graph for first 6 seconds. Let me name it AB. And CD is the graph for last 6 seconds, where the ball is moving towards its original position. That's why the velocity is minus 10 meter per second and it is in opposite direction. Okay. So this is the situation. This is the graph in front of us. We have to find the total distance traveled. Now total distance traveled is basically the area of part AB, area under the graph AB, as well as area under the graph CD, or area above the graph CD. So this area is nothing but length into breadth, because it's a rectangle. So it will be 6 multiplied by 10, which is 60 meters. This one is also 60 meters. So the total distance is 120 meter, which is correct. But the displacement is 0. Why? Because the ball hits the wall and comes back along the same line to the starting point. It comes back to the starting point. And we know that if the initial position and final position of a body after covering a certain distance, if it is same, then the displacement is 0. Right? Also, you can calculate it like here the displacement is plus 60 meter. Here the displacement is minus 60 meter, because this is velocity is negative. Negative velocity multiplied by time will give you negative displacement, and plus 60 minus 60, if you add, you will get 0. Right? So that is how you solve question number 11. Very easy. Done. Okay, next question. Already graph is given to you. Figure 2.44. Let me just remove this. Okay. Figure 2.44 shows velocity time graph of a particle moving in a straight line. Okay. State the nature of motion of particles. So this is a velocity time graph. Since the velocity time graph is a inclined line and here it is declined line, if I name it A and B over here, I can see that OA and AB are two graphs of this particular motion and they are inclined and declined. So basically the motion is accelerated motion. The motion is uniformly accelerated. Okay, in the answer they have, I would have written just accelerated motion, but in the answer see how they have elaborated. From 0 to 4 seconds, the motion is uniformly accelerated. Why? Because the line is inclined to both the axes. And from A to B, that is 4 to 6 seconds, the motion is uniformly retarded. Perfect. Find the displacement of particle at t is equal to 6. So if you want to find the displacement, you have to find the area under the graph, which is basically area of triangle OAB. This area, that is half into base into height. Half into base into height, which is half into base is 6 into height is 2. That is 6 meter. Right? 6 meter is the correct answer. Does the particle change its direction of motion? No, particle does not change its direction of motion because here the graph is only in the first quadrant. The velocity is increasing and then decreasing. The body is increasing its velocity and decreasing its velocity, but the direction of motion is not changing. The direction of motion, if it changes, then the velocity time graph goes into the fourth quadrant below time axis. Right here, that's why the answer is no. Compare the distance traveled by the particle from 0 to 4 seconds and 4 to 6 seconds. Easily you can compare. So what you have to do is, you have to find the area of this part. If you name it as C, OAC, by half into base into height. So that is half into 4 into 2, that is 4 meter. And here the distance is half into 2 into 2, that is 2 meters. So the comparison or ratio between the distance traveled from OA to AB is 4 is to 2 or 2 is to 1. Find the acceleration from 0 to 4 seconds and retardation from 4 to 6 seconds. Okay, if you want to find the acceleration, let me just clear this up. Okay, if you want to really find the acceleration, you have to consider 2 points. Okay, O to A acceleration. Okay, what are the coordinates of point A? 4, 2. What are the coordinates of point O? 0, 0. Correct. Now, acceleration from 0 to 4 seconds is equal to y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. So 2 minus 0 upon 4 minus 0. That is 2 by 4 or 0.5 meter per second square. Correct? And retardation, but we will write acceleration only. Acceleration from 4 to 6 seconds. So we'll take this point as A and this point as let's say B. And the coordinates of point B are 6, 0. So we'll write the formula y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. What is y2? Y2 is, here is your first point and here is your second point. So what is y2? 0. Minus 2 upon x2 is 6 minus x1 is 4. So minus 2 by 2, which is minus 1 meter per second square. That is the acceleration from 4 to 6 seconds. So retardation will be without the negative sign 1 meter per second square. You don't put negative sign for retardation, right? So that's your answer for the 12th one. So yeah, all the doubts whichever I could, I covered in this particular exercise, and I think most of the doubts, whichever doubts student had, are being solved now from exercise 2B numericals. Okay. Still, some students were telling me question number 14 is doubt. Now, in my textbook, which I have, there is no question number 14. Maybe I have old textbook. I don't know. So, I think after these many doubt solving, you should be able to attempt any remaining doubts if you have any, because this is like I have solved more than 60 or 70% of the exercise for you. So now after solving all these, there should not be any doubts remaining. That's what I mean, right? Okay, so doubts of exercise 2C, I will make a video on it tomorrow, because again, many doubts are there from that particular exercise also. So I will see you in the next video then for doubt solving. Bye-bye.